And we welcome you to This is Overtime here on OSN. It's Lieber Sage. Tanner Ryle after a convincing 5-2 victory for the Ottawa Senators over the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tanner, we went into this one wondering, the desperation of Ottawa, where the Leafs are at. I think we found out pretty quick. This was one-way traffic tonight for the Ottawa Senators, even down one at the beginning. Bad goal, maybe, probably. Giroud loses his man. All of a sudden, it's 1-0 Toronto, and it's no worries. The Ottawa Senators completely dominating tonight and get a very important 2 points for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great win for the Ottawa Senators. I think especially through the first half of the game, I was just looking at and saying, oh my God, this is probably the best they've played all season, aside from the guy in the net.
Well, yeah, I mean, at one point, it was 3-2, and the shots were like, 28 to 4 or 5 at that point. And yeah, so this was an absolutely dominating performance. And it's kind of in line how Ottawa's played and Toronto's played. Like the way that we think those teams are over the last couple of weeks played out tonight completely, to the point where Leaf fans should have been booing before the second period. But I think because it was 3-2, maybe they were confused at like their team kind of still had a chance. So we're not going to boo, but they checked out of the hotel at the end of the second period. I mean, that was one of the most embarrassing stretches I have seen in a long time. And Ottawa ends up, he had the Batherson offside goal that I can't even believe they took that long to review. Like at no point did an Ottawa Senator even touch the puck.
Yeah, it's definitely a good goal when the very Leafs favorable
Craig,
broadcast starts saying that it's probably a good goal.
Yeah, Craig Simpson was a no doubter, and that should just tell you everything that you need to know. You're right. So, I mean, going back to the first period, they give up the early goal, and I think the most important part of this game was just the resolve at the beginning to not let another bad goal, because if you are thinking it and I'm thinking it, the players are thinking it, right? Like Linus Ullmark in Toronto, another goal that, Giroud did lose his man. Giroud lost Morgan Riley and got caught. It was not a great play by Giroud, but it's still got to be stopped. And when that goal goes in, I'm sure a lot of players were kind of going, oh, like not again. And then that was the most impressive thing for me about the team, is they didn't really look like it bothered them at all. They just kind of went out and kept playing.
Yeah, it seems like that's been the case lately. I think ever since that Travis Green speech that they keep playing on the broadcast where he's telling them to block out the noise and worry about what's going on in that room. It just seems like even when they go down a goal or they're getting pushed at the start of a game, they don't seem to give up, which we've seen from previous seasons of this team and previous iterations with different personnel. But they stay in it, they buy in, and they play. And one thing I really noticed was the neutral zone play, the amount of turnovers that the Senators were causing and getting the puck back into the offensive zone early in the game, especially, I thought was really good.
One of the things I think that was interesting to me as well, you mentioned the neutral zone, but like in the middle of the second period, and I had it written down here, like just about like what the shot attempts were, what, where Ottawa was compared to Toronto. And it was so bad that, like, yeah, near the end of the second period, the shot attempts were 27-4. Like, what? Like that's almost unbelievable that could happen. And when they said in the broadcast that they were in the there was 10:49 to go in the second period, and every single forward had a shot except Zetterlund.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to go, right? This is exactly how it is supposed to go. And they just dominated at that point. Like, I was embarrassed, honestly, to watch the Leafs play tonight. Like, can you imagine the fans and the ticket prices and everything else to watch them play the first 2 games in Florida and Tampa and to come home? And like, Ottawa's good. So it's not, I'm not saying that the Leafs, were playing some terrible team, but there's no way in the middle of the second period that they should have like 6 shot attempts. Like, that's insane. I know Ottawa's good. They're doing this to a lot of teams. I get it. But come on. Just booing them completely off the ice.
Yeah, Brady, I can already see the headlines tomorrow. It's going to be fun day in the Toronto media world.
Well, it's over for them.
Oh, yeah, they're done.
Tonight, I mean, the first 3 games, they were probably out of it anyway, and they've got 0-3 since the break and have looked lifeless against all of those teams. And now it's over for them. Brady Tkachuk, an assist, +2, 6 shots on goal, 6 hits tonight. Noticeable. What did you make of the line brawl?
I said it in our private chat. It's just nice to see a little bit of snarl in this rivalry again.
Yeah.
It's about damn time, because thinking back to last season before the playoffs, it was just slow, a lot of flybys, none of that. I liked it. Not shocked at all whatsoever that it was Nick Cousins and Ridley Gregg at the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give some props to Jake Sanderson for grabbing Max Domi. Well, he's already got another player on him off of Nick Jensen. So nice to see that from Sanderson. But yeah, I'm sure gave Sportsnet lots of footage that they'll be able to use for the next few years.
Yeah, exactly. So when that was happening, Cousins did go in kind of after the whistle. Now Stolarz, who had just got into the hockey game at that point, is trying to show a little life for his team, which I understand. Like, they're getting run over in every aspect. But that's where, I think for a lot of, I'm going to say older Sens fans, because I know you remember it, but one of the big turning points in this franchise's history was destroying the Montreal Canadiens in a playoff game and then having a 5-on-5 brawl in 2013 and winning every fight on the ice.
Vivid memories of that game, watching it live with my Habs fan father.
Right.
I think he still twitches a little bit also when I mentioned the name Jean-Gabriel Pageau.
Right. Because that was a turning point to say, we're not only going to beat you, but we're going to destroy you in every way. Like, you are going to get killed tonight, and the franchise is going to take another step. Playoff game, huge rival. We're beating you on the ice, and then we're going to destroy you with our fists. That was a massive turning point. I kind of felt like if it was going along tonight, that this could have been another one. Like, this could have been another step as those fights, because you had Cousins, you had Greg, like, you had some decent guys on the ice. And it's not like you had a bunch of, Domi was on the ice, I guess. I don't really consider him, he's a fake tough guy. He's not a tough guy. He's a fake tough guy. Lawton's actually tougher than him. But that could have been a point too, where they just went in and were like, yeah, we're kicking your ass. And now we're going to go in after the whistle, and then we're going to beat all 5 guys on the ice. That's what's going to happen here. So I just wanted them to turn it up a little bit at that point, where the game was out of hand. They weren't losing. There was no fear of the Leafs coming back. There was no fear of doing something to give the Leafs a 2 or 4 minute penalty where you could get them back in the game. It's like, no, this game was over. So I would have liked them to turn it up here just a notch.
Agreed. And I mean, 2 more meetings between these 2 teams, so maybe we'll see a little bit more of the hatred come out in that. It's crazy to me that these 2 actually play each other in the last game of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a world out there where maybe things go like they did last year, and the Sens and Leafs are about to meet each other in the first round, and they play each other in the last game of the regular season, and you get something like that.
Yeah, there's a world where Ottawa might need to win that game to make the playoffs.
Oh man.
And the Leafs will not be around the playoffs at that point.
Nope.
So that would worry me a little bit. But we appreciate people tuning in here to OSN. This is Overtime. Lever Sage, Tanner Ryle. Tanner has not asked me about my buff yet, but I'm sure, 10 minutes in, he will at some point ask me about it. But there's lots to get to in this game. I know that I was flipping back and forth. To be honest, it was such a bad hockey game. I was flipping back and forth between the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which was equally or worse than the hockey game tonight. So
there he is in the chat right there.
I was begging for somebody to give me something to watch. And I know our friend Ben Soublier is binging Drive to Survive tonight without the kids because it's his only chance. So he's like watching the whole show tonight with his wife. I don't know how many episodes it is. But yes, our man, Z Gibbon, says Elimination Chamber worse than the Maple Leafs performance tonight. And Zach, while I probably agree with you, it's close. Like it's really, because if you watch that hockey game, that Leafs team is one of the worst teams I have seen. Like they have quit. It's not like they were doing anything special on the goals that they scored, right? Like big rebound from Olmark on the second one. No one really goes with him to the net, Nylander, and he just kind of tucks it in. But two not great goals that the Leafs scored tonight. But give you some props here. You were saying Drake Batherson needed to step up.
Yeah, how about 2 goals for him? Also, Dylan Cousins with a pair as well and an assist.
Yeah.
I really liked his game tonight.
And it was just like a lot of those guys, whether it was Batherson, whether it was Cousins, like it was coming where you felt like they were going to get one because they were playing, they were cycling, they were shooting, they were doing all kinds of things. Oh, I'm sorry.
Randy Orton won that match?
Please tell me, Zach, that you're kidding because we're live here. Randy Orton winning a main event to challenge for a title.
What?
No. Tell me that that's not true. Zach, I need you to tell me that is not true. However.
Oh, it happened.
Of course it happened. Want to say hello to Dan. Dan, watching, listening tonight. Yeah, Zach says, tell me when I'm telling lies. A CM Punkism. And apparently Randy Orton. But
I just saw the replay. So Drew was in there beating on Cody.
Cost Cody.
Cody and Randy got him out, and then Randy hit him with the RKO like right away. So they're probably just going to do a 3-way or something.
There's no way Randy, who just admitted on, look, this is a hockey show, so I will move away.
Keep it brief, yeah.
But Randy Orton admitted this week on national television that he hurt both shoulders when he was like 24 years old and had to adjust his style and literally joked that he has not picked anybody up in 20 years. Like he's like, I haven't picked anybody up in 20 years, and that's my longevity. And then he goes out and wins this to main event WrestleMania. And
we are recording tomorrow.
Yeah, a bit of a preview for the This Is Wrestling crowd. Apparently, Zach is making me record the review tomorrow.
Surprised he's not making you do it right after we wrap up here.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Zach, I'm available, and this is probably going to be a short show because I think I said to you, Tanner, before that the difficulty sometimes in doing these shows when they play really well or the opponent is not very good, Like, what are you going to pick apart again tonight? The only thing to pick apart tonight is the Allmark goaltender.
Yeah. He's got to be better.
He has to be, because they have no chance against better teams if he plays even remotely close to like he is now. However, what else are you going to pick apart from the team? There was never any fear of them losing tonight. Like, none. I was never, even when the Leafs made it 3-2, there wasn't one part of me that thought that they were losing this hockey game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the headlines tomorrow, or the ones that are already coming out about the Leafs.
Yeah.
I saw Friedman's headlines today and talking about that they're broadening up their ambitions about players that they're willing to make moves on.
Mm-hmm. Broadening, are they?
Yeah, they're moving past the outside guys. So, they might trade Morgan Riley. That'll bring a big return.
Yeah, I don't even know. They're kind of in Ottawa stage, but worse, where I don't know how many people you'd actually want on that team.
Yeah, especially the guys that they paid a couple first-round picks for last season. Carlo, Lawton, what they gave up 2 firsts, plus that kid in Boston that's really good.
Carlo's terrible. Although somehow he got to be +1 tonight. But
and they have a first-round pick this season that's sort of in play because it might end up getting transferred in one of those trades.
Yeah.
I think it's top 5 protected. So if they say get the 6th overall pick and they lose out on that this year.
Yeah, that's I know there's a bunch of scenarios for that pick. It could be all over the place. There's actually a really, really weird scenario that the Leafs would end up deciding who they would give the pick to, whether it's Philadelphia or Boston, depending on how some of the scenarios work out. They'd actually get to choose. This is the team we want to give our first round pick to, which would be Philadelphia. But
for sure,
they would never give it to Boston. But like, imagine just sitting there and then you choose Philadelphia and then they pick some great player and then he comes back to haunt them. Like, it just got storylines written all over it. But I was looking back to this game, looking at the ice time too. I think Travis Green, like the rest of us, were like, yeah, this game's over. And I'm going to spread around my ice time tonight. The lowest ice time of anybody that played tonight was Fabian Zetterlund. And he had an assist, was +2, and he played 10-14. Every other person played more than that. And yes, you have a couple of defensemen that Sanderson played 23 minutes and Shabbat played almost 22, but everyone else, Tanner, like 16 minutes, 15 minutes, 18, 17, 18, 17. Like he spread it around very, very well, making sure that he did not tax the rest of his team, because now they have a couple of days off and they got a big trip. And now it is a big trip for what they were able to do. Now, again, they did not get a lot of help on the scoreboard tonight. And we will go through the scoreboard here. And we were talking about that game before. The New York Islanders came back in overtime. They scored late and then won it in overtime, a 4-3 win over the Columbus Blue Jackets. The thing there that, for Ottawa, one of those teams is going to get a position in the Metropolitan Division playoffs, but the other team will be a contender for one of those 2 wildcard spots. So both teams getting points tonight, not great. The Buffalo Sabres came out with 4 goals in the first, I think, 11 minutes. I'd have to go back and check. Vasilevsky pulled in that game, and they dominate the Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 6-2. And the Montreal Canadiens also get a 6-2 win over the visiting Washington Capitals. I guess the only bit of good news, Carolina beat Detroit 5-2 tonight. But you do look around, Tanner. They got some help earlier today that the Philadelphia Flyers defeated the Boston Bruins by a score of 3-1, kind of keeping their faint playoff hopes alive. So the team you're actually trying to catch did not win today, but a lot of other teams kind of around you did win. And that's the problem here for the Ottawa Senators. So if you do look at the standings as they sit right now, it's the Detroit Red Wings in the wild card spot, the number one wild card spot with 74 points, because Montreal and Buffalo, both winning today, have jumped up over Detroit. So the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division, Tampa, Buffalo, Montreal, and Detroit has fallen into that first wild card with 74 points. The Boston Bruins stay stagnant at 71. Washington doesn't gain any ground because they lost. Columbus gets a point. So Ottawa and Columbus tied with 66 points, 5 points back of the Boston Bruins. And I would say, Tanner, I know the Bruins have a game in hand on the Red Wings, 3 points back, but I still think Detroit's, decent enough. I think Boston's the team that Ottawa is going to have to catch to make the playoffs. Like, I know we're talking about all these other teams and they're kind of competing in the Metro, and you are going to have to, at some point get over those teams, but it's the Boston Bruins to me that Ottawa has to catch.
It's not those frauds in Detroit?
No, not the frauds. The frauds did fall back into a wild card spot. And I don't want to go Ben because he's not listening right now. I don't think he's hard at work on that.
They do have a negative goal differential, not by much, but
yeah, they're -3. But I think Boston's the team that they're going to have to catch. For sure. And you have a whole bunch of teams like in the Metro. You have Pittsburgh and the Islanders now with 73 points. And then you're going to have Washington with 69, Columbus with 66, and Philly with 65, all with shots that think that they can get there. So there's a lot of teams in that Metro that probably still think that they have a chance to get there. But for Ottawa, I heard on the broadcast tonight, and I knew this from looking at their schedule, 7 of their next 8 opponents in the Western Conference. So that's not a great chance to bring people back to you, which makes it even harder to catch because, those 4-point games, they call them when you're playing a Boston. They don't play Boston anymore at all. But those teams that you can pull back because they aren't getting points because you're beating them. Ottawa's next 6 games: Edmonton, Calgary, Seattle, Vancouver. Then they're home to Montreal, and then they play Anaheim and San Jose, also at home, but teams again from the West. So they only have one Eastern Conference opponent until March the 18th when they play Washington. So this is a tough time here. And then they also it's going to be late post games here on This Is Overtime. It really will be This Is Overtime coming up. At Edmonton, 9:00 Eastern start. At Calgary, those games Tuesday, Thursday this week, 9:00. Oh, Saturday, it's a 10 p.m. start in Seattle. And then Monday night, another 9:00 start in Vancouver. And that's going to be a tough game for them to come home to because like a 9:00 Eastern start, the game's going to be over at just before midnight Eastern, and they will fly home right after that. Mm-hmm. And so that's a red eye that's going to get in, at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. And then they're going to have to rebound and play Wednesday against Montreal, which, another big game. But so
this is overnight coming to you next week.
I like it. This is overnight. If you go to ESPN2 and you look at the schedule, I love the fact that they have, because there's a sponsor, right? They always have the next game at Edmonton, where you can catch it on TV, and tickets as low as $51 in Edmonton. The next game at Calgary, tickets as low as $12. I'm like, that's not great if you're Calgary.
And then we've got the deadline in there as well. I assume we might be doing a little show next Friday. Who knows?
Yeah, coming up Friday for sure.
Depends what goes down,
Absolutely. But, I think for Ottawa, it's hard because right now you can only win the games that are in front of you, but they're going to have to win a lot of games.
Yeah, and we've been saying it for the last couple of weeks now. It's not fully within their control either. Boston's got to start losing. You got to start getting some scoreboard luck if you hope to get back into things.
Yeah. I mean, if the Boston Bruins don't start losing, this is going to be a very, very hard road. You look at the Bruins schedule, they also play the exact same days that Ottawa does. They play Tuesday and Thursday, home to Pittsburgh, in Nashville. And then they play Saturday, Sunday, home to Washington, in Pittsburgh, before home to LA and home to San Jose. So, look, I mean, no games are easy this time of year when you absolutely need wins. But the Boston Bruins have 4 of their next 6 at home, and their 2 road games are not far from Boston. They're not huge trips. In going to Nashville and going to Pittsburgh from Boston, not a big deal. So those one-off trips, look, that's the team. If you're Ottawa, that is the team that I think you're going to have to catch. So still, Tanner, we're now, 26 minutes in. You have not asked me about the buff.
I did off the air, but
the hat, yeah. Well, it's not a hat. It's
I'll indulge you.
It's supposed to, it's supposed to be around the neck. But this is an original buff. Okay? That's what they call them. It's kind of around your neck, but you can't really see it if it's around my neck. From the Waboose clan. Waboose. And what is Waboose? Well, if you can see here, everyone, zoom in. Cameraman, zoom in. That's what the Iron Sheik used to do. Survivor.
Do that.
Oh, see, there you go. Survivor Ottawa 2. The Waboose clan. Let's go. I can tell you officially, Tanner. Sunday, March 8th, 1 week tomorrow. The debut of myself as a contestant on Survivor Ottawa 2. All episodes will be coming out.
Get excited.
Sunday, March 8th. Man.
If we have another boring game next weekend, I know I'll be throwing on.
What an opportunity to watch myself on television. Like, I mean, how good is that? I have a feeling you'll be able to get the links here on OSN. I'm going to take it off.
We're going to have that all over the website.
Yeah, it'll be all over. Thisisosn.com, which I'm excited about. See, I probably shouldn't take it off. I got bad hair now. Yeah, I mean, back to the scoreboard. Is there any other scenario that you see? Like, you think Detroit's too far to catch? Ottawa with 66 points, and the Detroit Red Wings now with 74. I know Montreal and Buffalo aren't too far ahead of them, but Montreal with 75 and Buffalo with 76. I think when you start talking with as well as Ottawa has played, you're talking 10 points to the Buffalo Sabres, who are playing like extraordinarily well. Like, the Buffalo Sabres have been a very good team now for a long time. Is there any other team that you think that Ottawa could possibly catch if they start playing well?
I think there's an outside chance for Detroit. Just looking at them right now, they're 500 in their last 10 games. But the only other reason I'll prop them up there is that they meet again this season. Whereas Boston, their season series is done with the Bruins, so there's no chance for those like literal 4-point games.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be an easy way for them to gain a little bit of ground. Maybe if Detroit falls off a little bit. It's hard to say. I'm fascinated with how Steve Yzerman will approach the deadline as well. I think sounds like they've been associated with a couple of the bigger names that are out there based on the rumors. So that could affect things as well. But I don't think they're like astronomically better than the Boston Bruins. It's pretty close.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big metrics, and look, this is a personal opinion because I think you can look at stats and kind of manipulate them any way you really want to. Um, and that's the challenge for people who are running teams. But one of the metrics for me is I like to go back and say, okay, once these teams kind of got organized, like who have they been over the last, for me, it's usually more than a month. So I would say like the last 6 weeks, the last 2 months, the last 3 months. Like who have these teams been? Well, we played this game before, but it really hasn't changed all that much. December 1st. The top 7 teams in the league since December 1st, 3 of them are in the Ottawa Senators division. The number 1 team, the Buffalo Sabres, have 52 points, 4 more than anybody else in the league since December the 1st, 25, 8, and 2. And you know what? I made a mistake. 4 of the teams, 4 of the 7 teams, which is crazy, are in the Senators division because the Tampa Bay Lightning are 3rd at 22, 9, and 2. 6th, the Red Wings. 7th, the Canadiens. All the Lightning, the Red Wings, and the Canadiens have 46 points since December 1st. So you wonder why it's difficult to be able to catch teams. Well, 4 of the best 7 teams in the last 3 months are in your own division. That's crazy. And then I'm going to bring up January. And I mean, it changes a little bit, but not really. The Tampa Bay Lightning, the best team in the league since January 1st. You know who's 3rd? The Boston Bruins. In the last 2 months, the Boston Bruins are 12, 3, and 3. Again, kind of shows you Montreal, Buffalo 5th, the Canadiens 8th. And you have to go down. Like since January 1st, the Senators have been 11, 7, and 3. But, you know, and then even doing it like you want to do it since January 15th because of the break, the Senators climb up to 12th best, but still all the teams that they're trying to catch are ahead of them, right? I mean, the Blue Jackets since January 15th are 9, 2, and 1. Not including tonight, but like they're 9, 2, and 1. They're not in the playoffs. So it just tells you a little bit about how difficult it is to get there. And when you're looking at it, like if I look at those numbers, yeah, if I'm Steve Yzerman, I am probably adding. I got a good team.
Mm-hmm. I think there's definitely some other teams we can count out at this point too. You brought up Toronto. I think they're out of it. The Panthers have the same amount of points as them.
Yeah, I would agree. I just don't know if people in Florida would agree, but
probably not. I mean, a couple of years ago, they squeaked in the last game of the regular season. And that was when they went all the way to the conference final or the Stanley Cup final against Vegas.
Yeah, okay, but what do you think the number is going to be to make the playoffs in the East with how good the East has been?
I assume probably around 95 at least.
Okay, so if you want to say 95, the Florida Panthers have 23 games left this season. They have 63 points. So if they have 23, that's 46 possible points. And of the 46 possible points, they're going to have like 32 of 45 points.
Yeah, I didn't say it was likely, but
Yeah.
if there's a team that could do it.
And that's just to get to 95. And we don't know that 95 will get them in.
Mm-hmm.
But 32 of 45, that's a lot of points for a team that has not shown that they can do that.
Are they out for you? I'll ask that. Are they out for you?
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think the Flyers are good enough either. I know they won today, but I don't think they're good enough either. So the teams that are still in it to me are Ottawa, Columbus, Washington, and then the teams that are in. Everyone else below Ottawa, Philadelphia, Florida, Toronto, Jersey, and New York, to me are absolutely done. Like those teams should not even be thinking that they have a sniff.
Yeah.
And
so you could pretty much do the same thing in the West as well if you cut off beyond the three teams that are just outside of the wild card.
Yeah, beyond San Jose.
Yeah, like Winnipeg, Calgary, Chicago, St. Louis, Vancouver.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah, so that, like, I don't know if the Florida Panthers and the Philadelphia Flyers are going to think that they're done when it comes to the deadline coming up on Friday, but let's just assume that they are. That gives you 10 teams in the league, which is more than I thought we were going to get to be honest with you. But 10 teams that are going to look and go, okay, well, let's see what we can do here. So now I think if you're looking around and you're one of those other teams, you have a good amount of teams to go to and say, okay, maybe let's consider this. But I look at that Leaf roster tonight and I wouldn't even know where to start. Of what? Like somebody
there's some complementary pieces, but beyond that, like I know Oliver Ekman-Larsson, it sounds like Edmonton's really poking around him. Like if you get anything for Lawton or Carlo, sounds like Bobby McMahon, it's kind of 50-50 if he's going to stick around or not. But they overcorrected after the Marner thing and went away from skill and towards grit. And they built a very gritty team with a lot of these bottom six pieces that other teams I think would covet, except they don't want their entire team to be that like Toronto is. They want one or two of those guys. So I could see some teams being interested in like a Dakota Joshua or a Scott Lawton to have on a playoff roster.
So yeah, and this isn't the point that I'm telling you is, yeah, there would be teams that might be interested, but you're not getting anything for those guys.
No.
You're not getting more than like mid-round picks or like, B-level prospects. And then
like maybe McMahon, if they do decide to move him, they get something decent, but you're not getting a first for that guy, I don't think.
But this is the issue with Ottawa. You could get a first for Cloture.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You might be able to get more than that. But they're playing really well. And I think it's going to be really hard. Like, I know we say, like, going into the deadline, but there's only 2 more games to the deadline now, right?
Yep.
Well, it's going to be really hard to tell that group, as well as they've been playing, that we're going to take away in your chance to get there.
I think they do have to stand pat right now.
It's not because they're winning games, it's how they're winning games.
Mm-hmm.
They're dominating teams right now. If it wasn't for shoddy goaltending, I think this team would have some bigger, like tonight should have been 7-0. Like that's the way it felt. They beat them 5-2, but this game was not close. And so to beat them 7-0, I think they would be making some statements that were in the locker room. I think they know they've been really good.
It's just the goaltending.
Yep.
I've never seen a team get killed so much by one thing.
Yep.
And I'm fascinated to know how this next game against Edmonton is going to go with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl in a very pissed off mood.
Yep. And a team that has literally the same problem. Like they're not great defensively. The Edmonton Oilers are not like Ottawa where they're like locking teams down. So they're not at that level defensively. But offensively, they're obviously better than Ottawa. So their issue is still their goaltending. And if they had better goaltending, they would be a legit contender. And Ottawa be
might have
saying
won a cup in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and Ottawa would be saying the same thing. So, what an interesting game coming up on Tuesday night. It kind of couldn't have gone worse for Ottawa when, as you said, you're going to have a really pissed off McDavid and Draisaitl and a couple days to sit home and think about it for them.
Yeah, and McDavid historically puts up a lot of points against the Senators.
Well, this is why I say I'm really interested to see it, because this is a really good defensive team now.
Yeah.
They have shut down a whole bunch of people. So can they shut them down? Because if you start to look at it now, you're like, well, they win on Tuesday. You should be winning Thursday in Calgary. And then where are you?
You're at the deadline.
Right. And you're going to be probably, 3-4 points out at that point if you win your next 2 games.
And if they're serious about a couple of those players on Calgary, maybe I'm making a call to try and get something done before that game on Thursday.
It's not a bad suggestion. I mean, the game that's going to be, I think, the toughest is they play Seattle at that 4th game, and Seattle's right in that spot where they're in the second wild card, but only 1 point up on the Kings right now. They might be in, they might not be in by the time Ottawa gets there. And then you're on the road for a while, but boy, you win that Edmonton game. The last time we saw the Canucks, they were absolutely horrific.
Yeah. Seattle fascinates me for sure. I know you just mentioned them, but sounds like they want to do something too before Friday. Sounds like they went pretty far with Panarin.
Who's that?
The Kraken. They had a pretty serious offer in for Panarin, and just wonder if they do something big before Friday. I know it kind of came out that they almost moved, I think it was a top 10 pick for Kyrou at the draft this year.
Yeah. But you look at the schedule, you win that Edmonton game, and then you got Calgary and Vancouver on the horizon, who are not close to the playoffs. And if you play the way that you've been playing, you should be winning those games.
Yep.
And then that's even like losing the Seattle game, and you're still winning the next 3 or 4. You put yourself, it was a huge trip and a huge early game against Edmonton on the trip to kind of set the tone. Because if you don't win the Edmonton game, as we sit here on Saturday night, it's just a long time until Thursday night to even put 2 more points in the bank. Like, how are the standings going to change, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before you even get to Thursday? And with that deadline looming, you might get, especially Vancouver, which is the next game. If they sell off a bunch of stuff, you're going to have a pretty depleted Canucks lineup, and they're already terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. This feels. I think I watched a game tonight knowing how bad the Leafs are, but they blew a point against Detroit where they were the better team. We know before the break they played really well. They should have still competed in the Carolina game, and they let that game kind of slip away from them. But they've played really well over a course of time. And if you beat Edmonton and you got Calgary and Vancouver and Seattle coming, I mean, there's a chance that you might be 4 or 5 points behind Montreal when you play them on the 11th, and then you win that game, you bring them right back to you, and you're fully into it. Like, you're right back in this thing. Seattle beating Vancouver 2-0 early in the first.
Well, that'd be an exciting hockey game to watch.
Yeah, not so much. Not so much, but just to look at little scoreboard watching coming up tomorrow. Not a ton that affects Ottawa. A lot of Western teams in action tomorrow. The Florida Panthers at the Islanders, really the only game that kind of has some effect, but other than that, not really. But then Monday night, Philly and Toronto for both teams, but Philadelphia. It feels like Toronto's out of it, even though they're kind of hanging around in that spot. And then Detroit at Nashville and Columbus playing at the Rangers. Fun time of year, isn't it, to scoreboard watch when every night there's at least a game or two that kind of somehow impacts the Ottawa Senators and their chase?
Yeah, for sure.
That's to me where it gets way more interesting. Way more interesting.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what we're going to be talking about whenever it comes to that game this week, to our next pregame show.
So if you had to pick one thing that Ottawa should be focusing in on as far as acquiring something at a low cost, let's just say they decide they beat Edmonton and they're like, yep, we're in this. We're going to stand pat and maybe just tinker and add. Where is that spot for you? Knowing that the player that's going to come in is not most likely going to be like a major impact player, but where would you like to shore up?
I think either way, I'm looking at the right shot defensive area. Somebody who can play in the bottom four on preferably alongside Thomas Chabot, because Spence seems to be working well alongside Clevin, and he can play up sometimes. But
he drove me
Jensen,
crazy. That goal, that goal in front of the net tonight,
yeah,
the Nylander goal, like, oh my God. Well, he's trying to make a play.
Yeah.
Right in front of his own net. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, sorry.
For sure. But the other thing I'm thinking of is you've got Matt and Paolo right there. Like, why is this guy not playing?
Yeah, he just doesn't seem, Travis Green just doesn't seem to love him, eh? Like, it just
he
seems
did
to
last
be...
season. Like, Matt and Paolo fully beat out Hamonic.
Well,
I mean, Hamonic was worse than Jensen is now, but
well, yeah. I mean, how much is that saying?
Yeah, but
so here's where I would focus in on. Okay.
Yeah.
Go get a legitimate backup goalie for the rest of the year.
I wouldn't hate that either.
Go get one. Like, go tell your team. Like, and look, I don't blame James Reimer. The guy wasn't playing hockey. Like, he literally was not playing. And they brought him in. But, like, if you're playing a decent team tonight and Ullmark plays that way, I'd like the ability to go to another guy and have confidence in the team, have confidence in the other guy. And right now, they don't have one. And there's no way, like, a legit backup goalie. Like, I'm not talking like a major goaltender, but a backup goalie. There's no way it can
you're not
cost
saying
you.
Jesper Wallstedt is coming over?
Yes.
For Tim Stutzla, apparently, from that Minnesota podcast.
Yeah, I saw a Pinto and a pick. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Are you crazy? Stop talking about that.
I do think if they bring a goalie in, that one's got to go out the door the other way, though. Because I think this team's got a lot of cap tied up in it.
But what do you mean go out the door?
Like, I think they got to get rid of a goaltender if they're bringing one in.
Yeah, goodbye, James Reimer. Thank you for filling in. Goodbye.
I think there's a good chance that Mads Sogard might be dealt before Friday.
Okay, well, sure. If what? Levi Merilainen and Hunter Shepard are going to be your goalies down there? Okay.
Doesn't matter at this point. The Belleville Sens are pretty much out of it as well.
Yes, they're not great.
The only team worse than them is Utica, which, by the way, is the team that beat them last night.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm just looking down some lists of goaltenders and of UFAs. There aren't a ton.
Yeah, it's slim pickings. Stuart Skinner's going to get a pretty good deal in the summer.
Yep.
From some team.
Freddie Anderson, Laurent Boissois.
I wonder if the Flames would move Cooley. I know they signed him this year.
But that's where you need to go ask. You need to go. You need to start calling up teams because this is too good of a team right now. Like if you're legitimately trying to make a push, and I'm trying to get in the mind of Steos and Michael Anlauer and the group. If you've made the decision that you're going to make a push because you believe that the team can get there, then you just can't go into every game crossing your fingers that Linus Ullmark is going to be good enough every night and then have no answer to go to when he's not. So to me, I think that's the thing that could give the team the biggest jolt of we believe in you. Because they don't disagree with you. Like, yes, another right shot D, another, they've had trouble at times scoring important goals when the Bathersons of the world dry up and Stützle dries up. But those are secondary problems to me.
Yeah. My only thing is if you're bringing that goalie in, for him to be a difference maker, he's got to play more than Linus Ullmark.
Yeah, but you're not bringing him in to be a difference maker. I want to be clear. You're bringing him in to have an option that the team is not going to fold up if Linus Ullmark isn't great. It's like you have another option. It's just like going with your forward lines and deciding that you're going to mix up your forward lines, and you're not getting worse. You're just kind of mixing it up. You can't, like if you have a game and you recognize that Linus Ullmark is struggling, the ability to pull him and know that you're still going to have a chance to go and win the game, the ability to start a guy every third or fourth game to know that you have a chance to win that hockey game down the stretch, to me would give the team that little bit of confidence to go, okay, we know, like they'll tell you publicly, we believe in Linus Ullmark and all that crap. They don't. I can tell you right now, how could they? They do not. But maybe Ullmark starts to play better. But if he doesn't, you have to have another option. They don't have another option. James Reimer does not give you a good chance to win against any decent team. And Marylainen or Sogard, or they just don't. It can't be that hard to go get a backup goalie on the books for the rest of this year and then decide what you're going to do with him after that. That's where I'd like to see them focus. I can't wait to watch the implosion in Toronto.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly there, I think. They got to do something. And
well, it has to, right?
The headlines are going to be crazy. Like I said, they're already starting to come out. I saw Chris Pronger had a tweet about the way that they played. Trying to find it again here. Wow, the Sens just schooled and methodically dismantled the Toronto Maple Leafs. Two teams going in different directions, no doubt. Next Friday is going to be very interesting.
Yep.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I'm just looking at the Leafs schedule too and what they got left. A lot of Eastern opponents: Philly, Jersey, Tampa, Montreal, Buffalo. Yeah, that's it's just not going to go well for them. And they don't have anything in their cupboard either. And look, I want to be clear. This is the danger for Ottawa playing well at this point, is not making it and then not having anything in the cupboard either because you didn't try and get any assets. You wanted to stay with this group for this period of time, and then what? Big decision in the summer coming on Drake Batherson, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Because at 4.9, he's a good deal, but I don't know. Is he a good deal at 8? Because that's what he's going to get. And if he doesn't get it, he'll hold out or he just won't sign, and then he'll go to free agency and he will get it. But I would be very wary of giving that guy $8 million.
It's hard to say with where the cap's going. That 8 isn't probably the worst, but like imagine going and paying that guy more than Tim Stützle.
Right. Well, and that's where that's where the barometer should be set. Those are the internal caps that teams like to do. And if those guys are going to be around, I mean, the Tim Stutzles, the Brady Kachucks of the world, Jake Sanderson, if those guys are making a certain amount, you're not making more than them. That's not how we're doing business.
Obviously, when Brady's time comes, assuming he does want to stick around here, he's going to shatter Tim's number, but I don't think Drake should be by any means.
When guys are at that top level, them getting bigger contracts is not the worry. The worry is for the secondary guys to, when their term comes up. It's like in the NFL when you go through every year and you go, oh, well, who's the highest paid quarterback? Yeah, I'll tell you, the next one that's going to sign. And I don't care who it is. Like Kirk Cousins at one point was the highest paid, and Tua at one point was the highest paid. And they're not great, but they're guys that, their contract comes up and teams don't want to let them go because they don't have plan B, and that's what they get. And the secondary guys, that's the problem in hockey, especially. You can't pay secondary guys top money. And I think the Ottawa Senators have done a really good job at setting the internal cap. It's right in that 8.5 zone, because that's what Brady makes, and that's what Tim makes, and that's what Jake makes. And they're the 3 best players on the team. So guess what, guys? You're not making more than them.
No.
So they got a big decision coming up with Drake Batherson in the summer.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating to watch if they do decide to strike more at the core after moving Josh Norris last season. And then guy I'm looking at a little bit tonight because it stuck out to me on the ice times. The lowest ice time for any forward on the team, 10-14 for Fabian Zetterlund.
Yep.
We're coming up on a full season of Fabian Zetterlund as an Ottawa Senator, like a full season sample size. He's played 77 games, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. And if you really want to add on there, I guess there's 6 playoff games as well where he did absolutely nothing. Goose eggs across the board. I think he's probably lost the favor of the staff a little bit. See him playing on the 4th line in this game.
I don't know what they've ever seen in him other than potential.
Yeah, felt like an experiment, a shot that they took, but I don't think he's ever going to be that top liner that they hoped that would play with Brady.
No,
and play with Stützle.
No.
Like the guy and all, like the player, but
yeah, he's another bad decision, unfortunately, under this regime. It's just not a great decision for what they've done. So I'm going to ask you right now before we go here.
Yep.
Tomorrow is the first day of March, and the Senators have 23 games left. 46 points. Available, they currently have 66. If they get 30 of 46 points, it's going to put them at 96. And I would say right on the cusp of making the playoffs or not. So 30 points in 23 games. Obviously, you're going to have to win more than you lose at that point. But you can get to 30 points in a number of ways with overtime losses, right? Like if you really wanted to break it down, you could go 12 wins, 12 losses. No, that wouldn't get you there. Like you could go 12, 10, and 8. My math is bad, Tanner. You gotta help me. You gotta help me with the math here, okay?
I'm terrible at math.
Yeah, no. So anyway, you do need 30 points in a possible 46, depending on how you get there. Are the Ottawa Senators going to make the playoffs?
You want my answer on that?
Yeah.
No.
My gut's saying yes right now. And
I'm so? What dark portal have we crossed through?
I know.
Where you've got the Senators making the playoffs, and I don't.
Yeah,
to me,
that's just what I mean.
It's the hole that they've dug, and it's the fact they don't play Boston again.
Yep.
To me, I think that they are going to be the best team that misses the playoffs. And that's where I've been at for the last couple of weeks over the Olympic break.
The problem with that is that's the worst place to possibly be.
Yeah.
Like, there isn't a worse place to be than to play unbelievable hockey for the last 2 months and miss out by a point or two because you dug yourself such a big hole. But my gut tells me that that's a room that really believes in the way that they're playing. And the only reason I'm saying this is because it's a little different when you get like really big time performances by individual players to get you through like a week where like Tim Stützle just goes off and you can't stop him and everything's going in, like that type of thing. That's not what's happening to this team right now. This team is shutting down opponents at a crazy level. Like, just go back and look at the last 10 games they've played, and almost every team is not double digits in the middle of the second period as far as shots. Leafs weren't tonight. Detroit, nowhere close. They went 14, 16 minutes without a shot the other night. You get to the middle of the second period, and you're often seeing teams with 5, 6, 7 shots on goal. I really do think the players believe that they're playing the right way, and that if they get any goaltending at all, that they're going to get there. I believe that they think that, because I don't watch a game like tonight and go, "Oh man, if they didn't have Batherson, they were winning." Yeah, they were still winning without Batherson, but he played well and had a couple of goals. Same with Cousins. Same with, they should have won the Detroit game. They found a way to lose it, unfortunately. But they should have won the Carolina game, and James Reimer let them down. And before that, they never lost. I just think this team really does believe in the way that they're playing is not an individual carrying the team on his back.
I agree 100%. I think it's the hole that they've dug for me, and the amount of teams that are in there.
Hey, Tanner, if we finish on the fact that I've turned you negative and then I've turned positive, then that's a win for me. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Eat it, Zach. It only took me a couple of months to do it. How long is it going to take you, buddy?
You know what? Anyone who gets in the media, we can change you. We can change you. Like, we can get that fan out and go, yeah, you know what? Well, I see the light now. That's good. That's good. See, that's where we need you to be.
But yeah, I would love to be wrong, because I really do hope this team makes it in. Because I also think the way that they're playing right now, I would take them in a lot of situations in a 7-game series.
Oh, if they played anybody but Tampa, you would be like, yeah, they're just as good as them.
Which is funny, because if they do squeak into wild card 2, it probably would be Tampa that they'd match up with.
Right. But the wild card is pretty close right now.
True.
And because those teams are going to play a lot against each other, the Penguins and the Islanders and the Caps and the Blue Jackets. It's going to get a little murky.
It would actually be Carolina as well right now. They've got 2 points on Tampa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't love their chances against Carolina, but Carolina though always has this weird, we're the best team in the league in the regular season and we're dominant. Oh, Carolina, they've only like they haven't lost a game in regulation in I think I want to say they're like 11-0-2 in their last 13 games, something like that. They just don't lose games in regulation at all. They do this every regular season because they have the puck all the time and they put all this stuff to the net. And then when it comes down to actually scoring goals in important situations, they can't do it.
Yeah, they still lack that game breaker, and they tried to get one with Mikko Rantanen, but he's not there anymore.
It's the same story year after. So until like this is the doesn't matter what you want to say, the team that always gets to the playoffs but never can do anything. It's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Always the bridesmaid, eh?
Oh boy.
I'm sure they're pretty happy that it looks like Florida's out of it.
Yes, exactly. However, to your point, if Ottawa ever got in, they're a team that you would absolutely not want to play.
No.
So I do think, regardless of whether they get in or not, that we're going to have a fun next month or 6 weeks before we get there, because I don't think they're going to just lose 4 in a row and be out of it.
I think that's a lot more than you and I can say when we started doing this podcast about a month and a half ago, when it looked like pretty rough.
Yep. It looked like the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight.
Yeah.
And for the rest of their time, they are not there. So again, I don't know if Dan's listening, but Dan, if you are, appreciate it. Dan, fantastic guy in. What are you laughing at? You're laughing at Dan, my barber?
No. So Julian McKenzie from The Athletic, he's in Toronto tonight for the games, posting. He's doing a scrum. Linus Ullmark did an appearance. Linus Ullmark, when asked about how good it felt to get a win in Toronto after his previous appearance in late December, the last game before he went on personal leave, his quote was, "It's nice to not get pulled."
Well, Linus, at 3-2, if he had let in another bad goal, there might have been a thought about it. So it's just nice to not get pulled. I felt like almost any goaltender tonight could have played for Ottawa and won the hockey game.
Yeah.
Like, there aren't too many goalies. I would think, you know what? Yeah, Ottawa wouldn't have won with that guy. And that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, is because their goalie was the worst guy on the ice tonight. And they dominated the Toronto Maple Leafs. They dominated them. And their goalie was the worst player on their team. And it didn't matter.
I think it helped that the offense was clicking, because we saw like last game against Detroit, goaltending wasn't great, but they weren't burying their chances either. And they played a great shutdown game, but they got outscored. So, but still, scoring more goals is going to help.
I know, but they only allowed 2 in that game. It went to overtime. They only allowed 2 tonight. If you allow 1 or 2 goals with the way that they're playing, you're going to win most nights.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Tanner. Well, we'll definitely see you for a pregame. I don't know that you'll be staying up, but if you want to, then you can. But we'll come cross that bridge next week. But big week for the Ottawa Senators in Edmonton on Tuesday night, in Calgary on Thursday night before the NHL trade deadline. And both of those games will be a 9 p.m. Eastern start. All right. Well, I think we've gone long enough that we've probably got Zach away from recording This Is Wrestling tonight. So that might be good.
Oh, I'm seeing some more news here.
Okay.
Cody Rhodes will challenge Drew McIntyre for the Undisputed Championship next Friday on SmackDown. Because why would you do so? Randy won the Elimination Chamber, but Cody's still getting a shot at Drew except it's on SmackDown instead of at WrestleMania. They're gonna do a multi-man. There's no way it's gonna be Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. Oh my god.
My prediction, my head's in like buried right now. So I think now my prediction is I think they're going to do a 4-way.
Yeah, probably Fatu.
Yeah. I just don't see any other scenario.
Why not make it a 5-way? Let's get Sammy in there too.
I wouldn't be opposed at that point.
let's not stop there. Let's go for 6.
Who's my man Logan Paul gonna fight? And would you be interested? Hear me out. Would you be interested in Logan Paul against Bad Bunny?
No.
What? Oh, I would love that. Oh man, I would love that.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Oh, I would love that. I there's a lot I don't understand, but this is going to be. I have a feeling like I'll go watch the men's match. I watch the rest of it. It's going to be a contender for one of the worst cards in a long time. They were booing the Danhausen stuff. They were in Chicago. They were booing, and the AJ Lee Becky Lynch was god awful.
Yeah.
Oh, just terrible. Just terrible. And the women's elimination chamber was nothing to write home about either. It was just okay. Punk and Balor was good. Thankfully.
I'm not surprised with that, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully.
That doesn't sound like it's a great Mania build.
No, not at all.
I haven't watching at all.
I know, but I'm explaining to you that the person that they're pushing the most over the last 6 months has clearly been Gunther. And they haven't even set it up yet, but it feels like he's going to fight Rey Mysterio and retire Rey Mysterio.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And getting into it with how he's treating Dragon Lee. Not exactly Nakano versus Medusa out there. No. Zach, I was watching, you'd be proud of me. I was watching Akiyama beat Misawa the other day, which I think you'd be very happy about. But no, this is one of Zach's shticks on This Is Wrestling, by the way. Great podcast, This Is Wrestling. Zach and I went head to head in guessing the 8-bit soundtrack song that was playing for wrestling entrance themes.
Oh.
And it was like 10 themes that were 8-bit. And I can tell you it went down to the wire. Some of us were a conspiracy victim and others weren't. If that
I mean, you got to give Zach some credit. He's been on the air a lot, doing lots of Trenton Golden Hawks and Frontenacs and Chris Van Vliet. He's been, a busy guy.
It was a major coup for Zach McGibbon to be on Chris Van Vliet's podcast.
Yeah, it was weird that he was talking in the third person a lot,
Well,
a little strange.
His ego is a little much sometimes, but
I mean, he really doesn't like Peter Dinklage.
No. There's people listening in going, what are they talking about? But they have not done a very good job at the build of WrestleMania because Gunther's their top guy and they're not really pushing him at all. Brock Lesnar is doing an open challenge at WrestleMania, which is just so dumb.
Why didn't they save Danhausen for that?
Like I texted Zach today. Danhausen came out and then they had a bunch of girls coming out dressed in light costume and they all came in and they did a dance routine. Like, I'm not kidding you. They did a dance routine, almost like a cheerleading routine in the ring. I texted Zach in the middle of it. I'm going, can you imagine watching this in rehearsal and going, okay, guys, we got it. We got it. Nailed it. Just do that on the pay-per-view and we're going to be great. Like, it was just so embarrassing. My God. Anyway, that's for another podcast and another time. For us, we'll be back. We're going to have some things, I think, happen this week during the day, and then we're going to have some nighttime stuff as well, and we're gonna get charged. And don't forget, for people who are watching, see, I got it. Survivor Ottawa 2, the second edition. Survivor Ottawa 2, the Waboos clan. Next Sunday, it drops. You'll be able to catch it here on OSN, on YouTube, and some different places. Yes, I am a contestant. Survivor Ottawa 2. Tanner's laughing.
Oh, I can't wait. I heard we might rent a movie theater out for the big premiere, you know?
Yep. Well, that's this is the first I'm telling people. So yeah, the movie theater might be available to be able to
Oh, I was just joking about Ben and I ribbing you about it, but
yeah, I know, but it's filling up. People are requesting.
There we go.
Apparently it's available. Anyway. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, Tanner. We'll talk to you during the week and look forward to the Senators are a pretty good team.
Yeah. Yeah, you enjoy your weekend as well. Looking forward to seeing what happens this week as we get closer to the trade deadline a week from today. Fascinated to see where this team's going to be at.
When Zach says, and we'll end it, survive if Lee lets you. Just remember that. A lot of different things going on. All right. This is overtime. The Ottawa Senators convincing 5-2 victory. Should have been 8-2 or 9-0 tonight. That's how well they played. But they do beat the Leafs by a score of 5-2. Next game comes up on Tuesday night in Edmonton against the Edmonton Oilers. Waiting for them at home. And remember, the trade deadline comes up in 6 days from now, Friday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. I believe it's 3 p.m.
Yeah, I believe that sounds right. It's usually 3 p.m.
Friday, 3 p.m. So Ottawa's got 2 games before that, and we'll be out on the West Coast. For Tanner Ryle and Lee Versage, this has been Overtime on OSN.